Hey everybody, welcome. I hope you're at home, socially isolating and comfortable clothes, and hopefully still able to earn a living. But the social isolating thing is super important. And I can tell tons of people that are doing it are really, really getting upset at the people that aren't doing it. And I understand that. And at the same time, I want to explain why that's happening and why the best thing we can do is what a lot of the world's governments are doing and how they're approaching it, because they're doing it based on a bunch of research. So let's look at why these things happen at all. So the reason history repeats is that whereas technology can build on, science and technology can build on the previous generation, so every student goes to school and learns what all the previous scientists and technologists did, and they start from where those people left off and they explode outwards from there. So this is why most sciences are doubling knowledge every 7 months, because there's now so many scientists working with such fast computers that they can model so many things that we're really moving quickly. So we build and build and build, and people look at, like, the covered wagon and the cell phone and go, how come humans haven't done that? But we really have come a long way, because we used to kill wars where we tried to completely wipe each other out, and now we sign pieces of paper and both go home and sell each stuff to each other. So that's a considerable improvement. And as Steven Pinker points out, the world has got fantastically better throughout history and continues to do so. So human nature is that we tend to navel gaze at our problems both personally and societally, and each generation finds a major problem to tackle, tackles it, it generates some unintended consequence that the next generation then goes and deals with. So why does history repeat? Because unlike technology, humans do not build on the previous generation. We all start out ignorant, tabula rasa, we don't know anything. So when we first load our brains with knowledge, there's no reason for our brain to assume the knowledge is incorrect. So we misunderstand all kinds of things, but we assume they're true. When I was a little kid, my neighbor and I had an argument over whether the equator was a piece of string or a pipe that went around the world. So that, when you're 5, you think you know everything, right? You really do. You can dance, do poetry, you're amazing. And that's awesome. But what we slowly do through life is we slowly learn we're wrong about, frankly, most things. And at the end, the wisdom we end with is humility, where we realize we know very little. We know a little chunk, and we just try and do the best we can with that. So that's how the progression of life goes. Now, so the trick with the COVID thing is that as we're moving through life and we're acquiring this knowledge and getting rid of bad knowledge, right, ejecting it and collecting maybe something a little bit better, as we move forward that way, we're all doing it in a different order. So we all start on a different year because we got different birthdays. We all discover stuff in a different order because we have different interests and know different people and live in different places. And so we're all basically acquiring knowledge about what the world is in a different order. So everybody's walking around with an individual idea of what it is. So a bunch of us who really love science and understand how this works, we all fully respect why these rules exist. People are just obedient. People are really dangerous, and certain, like in World War II, was created by too many obedient people. Like we want people to cooperate with each other on things for society, but we don't want them to just be blindly obedient. But either way, both groups are currently isolating. The one group that isn't is the group that still has not come to this knowledge where they understand this. So this is, governments sort of have understood that the psychology of this, that there's a certain percentage of the population will immediately accept it, a certain percentage that won't. Just like there's a certain percentage that'll panic buy and a certain percentage that won't. These are all fairly known numbers through science. And so they know all this stuff. So they know that even if they clamp down using the laws immediately, a giant percentage of the population just isn't going to listen. And they're not going to listen for this reason. Because society, the thing we're trying to get is our Venn diagrams loaded up, right? So we all got our separate Venn diagram of our reality. And what's happening is where we differ can be really valuable. That's where all the different music in the world comes from, all the different arts. And the reason one painter paints one way and another paints another way is because our Venn diagrams are not fully overlapped. So that uniqueness is part of what makes humans great. But the other part that makes us great is where we overlap, the part that forms the unity that is us, the human part. And so whereas an artist can do a song and we can just not like it and listen to another song, we all share human genetics and bodies. We all have these together. And so these people that are not in, they don't have their Venn diagram layered into the part where human health exists, which is more risky to them than anybody else in a lot of cases. Um, what we have to do is get them to move the border of their Venn diagram. That's why change is so hard. That's a major thing to do for all of us anytime we do it. But it's not done because people forced us. It's not done because people gave us a bunch of logos, a bunch of logic, and explained it to us. It's because somebody who we felt cared about us asked us why we thought what we thought, and exposed the flaws in that thinking in a way that that person could understand and respect the way that we had done that. So what we have to do is figure out ways to communicate better, not ways to demand more. Because the drive to feel this way, to get these people indoors, I totally understand. Nothing would help us financially and health-wise faster than if they cooperated. But the reason they're not going to is a human reason, and each one of us would have done this at certain times in our lives with some issue where we didn't cooperate with something that was good for us, just because we didn't understand that it was good for us. So anyway, I hope all of you out there find this a little bit alleviating in terms of your stress about these people that won't self-isolate. If you know other people that are upset, please consider sharing the video to them, and consider subscribing to the channel. It's brand new, but if you found this valuable, hopefully you'll find more. And I would just like to wish you all a good day, and thank you very much for being here today. Thanks.